Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
This is 7 at 7 from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Thank you for joining us on 7 at 7 p.m. on this Monday, March 1st. Good evening, I'm Jen Ah. Now to your top stories, sponsored by Carnegie Heights. Breaking earlier this afternoon, Nevada is set to receive about 24,000 doses of Johnson & Johnson's COVID vaccine. We've just confirmed this with state officials. Federal authorities authorizing the single-dose vaccine for emergency use over the weekend, the first vaccine to only require one shot. Again, Nevada is set to receive about 24,000 doses, but no word on when the shipments will arrive. Plus, it's back to school day today, but unlike any other, students getting ready to go back into the classrooms for the first time in almost a whole year. Now that's passed, CCSD Superintendent Jesus Jara gave us an update. Review Journal's Renee Summerhour tells us more about what he had to say. Renee?
Jen, this morning, of course, was one that many parents in the Las Vegas Valley were looking forward to. Some of these students will be in the classroom Mondays and Tuesdays, while others will be there Thursdays and Fridays. This is just the first step in the process as the pressure to reopen took an increased urgency as officials reported that students in isolation were facing serious academic and emotional issues. Here's what Dr. Jara had to say.
You know, my early thinking is really we have to provide choice, because even though with the vaccine, as we continue to, is that we go slow, you know, and then start seeing the face-to-face instruction. My thinking at this point is that we're still going to have families that are going to opt out for distance education. So we're going to have to find a way to provide that opportunity for our families.
For more on the latest updates on schools reopening in Clark County, log on to lvrj.com. Jen?
Thanks, Renee. This transition to face-to-face learning may be welcome news for some. However, mental health experts warn with Boys Town, Nevada, that may not be a smooth one for all. A UNLV school psychologist we talked to recommends parents treat the return to classrooms as something to be excited about, but not to the point where their children are jumping about. According to experts, some students may have gotten used to the lack of structure and could struggle to sit still in their classrooms. In more developing news, a man is in critical condition as of earlier this afternoon following an officer-involved shooting. No officers were injured, thankfully. Police responded to a report of a man with a knife near Lamb Boulevard and Cary Avenue. Police say that when responding, police told the man to drop the knife. He came toward the officer. The officer then fired his weapon, striking the man. Now, this is a developing story, so be sure to follow it on lvrj.com. It's official. This man has officially received a 7-figure settlement from the state of Nevada after being imprisoned for a murder he didn't commit. Fred Steese was pardoned 3 years ago. He was wrongfully convicted back in 1995 for murdering 56-year-old Gerard Soules, who ran a dog show at Circus Circus. Steese spent more than 21 years behind bars. As part of the agreement, Steese will receive a total of $1.35 million. District Judge Jasmine Lily Spell signed off on the settlement at today's hearing. We'll have much more on the story on lvrj.com. Now to your weather, sponsored by Las Vegas Paiute Tribal Smoke and Cigar Shop. It's been a cool start to the week with a gentle breeze. Temperatures expected to drop into the 30s later tonight, so it's going to get pretty chilly later. Looking forward to the rest of the week. We can expect highs to stay around 70 degrees with lows in the 40s. We will get some windy days, but mostly sunny skies as well. In your health news, sponsored by 4M Dental, love your smile again. We have some good news for you in terms of the latest COVID numbers. No new deaths today, in the last 2 days actually. The death toll is static at 4,957. However, public health officials are reporting 226 new cases, which brings the state's total to more than 293,000 cases. Now to your business news, sponsored by the Bank of Nevada. Pandemic life has home buyers looking for extra space. Now, these buyers are looking for houses with office spaces, areas to work out in, and much more to make life during the pandemic more comfortable. On the other hand, the Las Vegas workforce is largely made up of hospitality and tourism employees who can't work from home, much of the interest in these larger homes coming from outside of Las Vegas.
Sports, sponsored by Scenic Brewing Company. With the sports update, I'm Cassie Soto. Las Vegas Aces forward A'ja Wilson penned a heartfelt letter for the Players Tribune discussing her struggles with depression last year after putting up an MVP season. In the article titled Dear Black Women, Wilson discusses the anxiety that finally caught up with her once she left the WNBA bubble. The 2020 MVP says she was on vacation with her family when she suffered from her first panic attack. Quote, "I could barely breathe. Everything was blurry. I couldn't hear anything," end quote. Wilson discusses how the loss of her grandmother and not being able to come to terms with her death played a large role in her pain, and how the pressure of putting on different masks to please people affected her. Quote, "You can be vulnerable and still be the MVP. You don't have to put on the mask every morning," end quote. Now, here's the latest in sports betting. If Russell Wilson is traded this offseason, the Raiders are the favorites to acquire the Seattle Seahawks quarterback. SportsBetting.com has posted odds on Wilson's next team, and Las Vegas leads the way at 4-1, followed by the Dallas Cowboys at 6-1 and the Miami Dolphins at 8-1.
Thanks, Cassie. In your lifestyle news sponsored by Get Healthy, Clark County, we're wondering, how are support groups faring during this pandemic? We talked to members of Alcoholic Anonymous who say they miss the casual interactions, the hugs, certainty of seeing a friend, but they do have virtual options, meeting up through Zoom. Some say they were skeptical about this, but now find the virtual meetings close enough. They say it's hard, but, quote, "but I don't have to have a drink over it," end quote. For the full story, head over to our website. In your entertainment news, sponsored by Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Allegiant Stadium is ramped up for upcoming shows. Review Journal's John Katzlaminas tells us more about a Las Vegas band who performed for the venue's first show.
The legendary Las Vegas band Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns are the first act to play at Allegiant Stadium. The venerable Vegas Rockers were there Sunday afternoon and into the evening playing for Raiders owner. He wanted to break in the audio and visual and sound system in the stadium. He's also looking for a house band. Santa Fe might fill the bill.
Thanks, Katz. And that's a wrap for today's 7 at 7 p.m. from the Las Vegas Review Journal. I'm Jen Ah. We know you're busy, so we've built a newscast to fit your lifestyle. Catch us on our website, Apple TV, Alexa, and other streaming devices. And be sure to stay tuned for 7 at 7 a.m. as well. Good night.
Review Journal Studio, sponsored by Adam Kuttner. Get the maximum settlement as quickly as possible. This 7 at 7 update, sponsored by Pro Group Management. You're watching 7 at 7 from the Las Vegas Review Journal.